Yes. Hello, Betty. Morning, Nina.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Intl.Dhamma, everyone. Yes.
Thanks, Sarah.
Hi, Alan. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Good.
Hi.
Morning, Alberto.
Alberto's there.
Swadika.
สวัสดีค่ะท่านอาจารย์
Dika Ajan.
สวัสดีครับอาจารย์
Hello.
Tönka. Shall we start? Sarah, please.
Yes, Jonathan's just going to be 5 or 10 minutes late. Nina, do you have a topic you would like to bring up today?
Yes, I have. Ajahn said that if one thinks of, if there's thinking in the right way of ignorance and attachment and aversion, it can help to have less attachment, to have attachment to such qualities as metta and karuna. And some people may think that they have to think in a wholesome way to have more awareness, but they forget that Ajahn also stresses that there is no one there and that realities are coming and going and never to return. So I think it's good if Ajahn can explain more that it is not thinking in a wholesome way that conditions direct understanding, just thinking, but that it is to be with right understanding of there is no one there. That is always very useful.
I think that when there is the confidence of the truth that what is the most precious moment in life now, it has to be the understanding of the true nature of what is there. Otherwise, it just keeps on going on and on without any understanding at all. And what is more than, from moment to moment, accumulation of ignorance and attachment and all kinds of akusala, conditioned by no understanding of the truth of this moment that is so very short. And each moment is so short. Each moment is so short, beyond expectation. How short it is now, unknown. That's why just consider what is the truth taught by the Buddha about what is there now, and consider wisely that whether it's true or not. That's the condition for having more confidence of understanding, that it can condition more and more wholesome moments, less and less ignorance and attachment. Otherwise, there's no other way at all, only by understanding what is there as it is. So very short and no one there at all. But this is just only the word. If we keep on thinking just about the term and the word, but what about the characteristic of that? In truth, it's there, experiencing that which is seen, only that, not other moment of thinking, liking at all. So just one moment at a time, by conditions to be different moments, unknown, that actually in truth, nothing is permanent at all, only that which is now appears as so permanent. But in truth, it's not at all. Just learn to have confidence of the truth, to have more viriya, effort, patience, to develop the understanding of the characteristic of that which is there as it is. For example, we keep on saying, there's no one, no thing at all. What is there is just that which is real when it's seen or heard or thought about. But in truth, each moment gone instantly, as soon as it is conditioned to just arise, performing its function, and then gone, never to return. Just having such understanding on and on and on until it developed little by little in daily life to any moment by conditions. There can be a little more understanding of that which is now appearing. No expectation depending on conditions if it's not yet known. But hearing again and again about it can be conditioned to conditioned moment of beginning to think about it or to understand what is there, as it's already happened by conditions. And it has different characteristics right now. For example, seeing is not hearing. Keep on to understand that, and it begins to develop the understanding little by little. So very later and very subtle that it is not known, that now it's developed gradually from moment to moment. And that is the way it is. So very, very subtle until conditions is enough to condition moment of understanding directly what is there as it has been known or heard or studied as it is. The reality which is there, a reality for sure, but it sees, and what appears is only that which is seen. No thought about the seeing, the reality, which is conditioned to arise to see and then gone. Having more confidence of the intellectual understanding about what is there each moment can build up the understanding of what is there directly when it's conditioned by the accumulation of understanding the nature of it. So very patiently to know that it's so true, that it can be known gradually, little by little, closer and closer, to be directly understand the characteristic of that which is there. Unexpectedly, because now this developing from moment to moment. Is that true right now? Is there the reality which is, and it's not at the moment beginning to understand just one reality at a time when it's there. Now they're seeing, but usually what comes after is ignorance, no understanding of the nature of seeing, and take what is seen for something instantly and dream about everything which is seen, which is heard, and so on in life, on and on and on, until hearing again and again and again. Who knows how long will it condition moment of firm confidence of that which is there to be known. It's there to be known. And without the words of the teaching about it, how can there be moment of it's there to be known, not just to see, but to understand the truth of it? It's there, conditioned, arising and falling away. It just conditioned to see, that's all. It has performed its function and then gone. Now, instantly, continuously, by the nimitta of seeing, while there are other reality taught by the Buddha, what moment, from moment to moment, is there, as it is, different ones. Little by little, this is the way to develop the understanding of the true nature of reality as no one, before it can understand the precious understanding of the truth. Nobody can change it. And what is there is just what we take for life from the very beginning, birth, and seeing, hearing, and on and thinking, until the end of life. Nothing is there at all. Cannot be remembered when it's gone from this life to be new being next moment, not as previous life at all. So this life is the previous life of future life of next life. What is there? So important in this life, but it has to be forgotten instantly after death. No thought about it anymore. So never end without understanding of what conditions this very moment and whatever is there from moment to moment. As long as there are conditions for whatever arises, no one can stop. It's arising because conditions there. Condition, it's arising. And as soon as it has arisen, it's gone. Just have firm confidence from life to life of the truth until right understanding is strong enough to understand the nature of that which experiences, which is different from the reality, which cannot experience anything. So clear because it appears just one characteristic only at a time, just one by one to be known. The difference between each one, that what is taken for something or someone or anything must be only the thought about the shape and form, which if there's no reality at all, how can there be such shape and form? And there has to be so many moments to form the shape and form to appear as something. Like now, see, just learn to understand, and understand develops. So very slowly, very gradually, unknowingly, but it is now performing its function, moment to moment. Is that true? No one is there, just hearing again, consider again, develop the understanding at moment of considering the truth until it's so firm that this moment is not just a moment ago. And the future is now conditioned to be present, while the moment now gone all the time. Just understand life, understand the truth of realities, which is taken for something when there's no understanding of the truth of it. Anytime by the accumulation of ignorance and attachment and other realities like kusala and akusala. Even memory is just a reality. No one can force it to remember just this or that. All depends on conditions. So whatever happens, whatever is there, is conditioned to be just a moment and then gone. It's quite a relief. No one at all. It's only the succession of what arises and falls away by conditions from life to life. It's so true. See, it's so true. So it's there now as so true as it is. How come to be this moment without conditions? Nothing can arise at all. As long as there is no hearing, considering, understanding, how can there be the understanding of the truth of what is there now as it is? From moment to moment, so little at a time, but it can build up from moment to moment. too. And this is the only way to let go, the clinging to that which is now appearing as someone or something, little by little, until what is there appears so clear as it is, one characteristic at a time. Unexpectedly, what would be the object right then at that very moment. So unexpectedly, even right now. So unexpectedly, but no thought about it at all. Just learn to understand that actually what is there cannot be taken for anything permanent because it's so very short. Just arise and falls away unknowingly until it's known gradually, little by little, by conditions, understanding the way it is, little by little, letting go the idea of something. Gradually, what is seen is just a moment. It is quite a long time to understand the truth of it little by little, as now, just right now, as it is. Patiently, Parami, Kanti, Parami. So there can be the understanding of the characteristic of the reality, which is Kanti, patience. If one rushes to understand it, try to do by different means to understand it, it's wrong. No patience at all, no parami. That's why we learn to understand, to be patient, just to understand, not for different aim. So is there now patient? No one, but it's a reality.
Go ahead, Betty. We can't hear you, Betty.
Oh, sorry. I meant to turn on my mic. I'd like to know the difference between the two sets. One set of pariyati learning, okay, pariyati, patipati, and pativeda. The difference of that with Suttamaya Panya, Chintamaya Panya, and Bhavanamaya Panya. How do these two sets differ?
I'll say a few words first. So as we know, the pariyati understanding is the
I understand what each one means.
Yes.
In set, but I want to know what the difference is between the two.
Yes. So the pariyati is the wise consideration of realities now. And Suttamaya Panya is the understanding based on what is heard. So without the understanding of what is heard, there cannot be the wise consideration of it, the pariyati understanding. And the pariyati understanding is of different degrees, like in the beginning, just a very little bit of wise reflection, then it becomes firmer and firmer. So when it is the understanding of what is heard, just a little, it's not enough. Maybe there's a little understanding of what is heard in the discussion and then all forgotten afterwards. But if there is the more careful consideration during the day about what has been heard, this is the Chintamaya Panya. It's still pariyati understanding. It's still intellectual understanding, not the direct understanding, but it's firmer and firmer, more and more well considered in order to condition the direct understanding, the pati-pati understanding, and the bhavana maya panya. It is the development of the direct understanding, the development of satipatthana. So it is pati-pati understanding, right up to pati-veda understanding, on and on and on, firmer and firmer, clearer and clearer, until moments of enlightenment. So the Chintamaya Panya, Sutamaya Panya and Chintamaya Panya refer to the different degrees of the Pariyatti understanding, and the Bhavana Maya Panya is the development of Satipatthana. So it is the Pati-pati and right up to Pati-veda, moments of insight and enlightenment, all included in Bhavana Maya Panya. And I wanted to make a comment to Nina. Well, Ajahn was just talking about the importance of patience to understand, just for understanding. And the point is that listening can be a condition. It can help, but the point of listening is not in order to get something, in order to get some understanding for oneself now. So it's very subtle, because like Nina said, thinking in the right way about the different defilements can help to have less clinging and more metta. But if one thinks about ignorance and attachment in order to have less clinging, in order to have metta, then it's the wrong path again, because it's self again. And even if we say, well, there's no one there, and there must be thinking of understanding that no one's there, even that can be the wrong path. If there's the idea that I should think about how there's no one there in order to have more understanding, then it's the wrong way again. So this is why there has to be the patience just to let understanding develop naturally, not to try anything, because as soon as there is impatience or trying to repeat words or trying to understand the meaning, or thinking that if one reflects on akusala, that's the way to have more metta, then it's all I, and it's following a practice again. So I think it's very subtle.
Point. Yeah, to think no one there at the same time, it can be wrong, but I did not get that point so clearly. Even you think there is no one there.
This is why it's not about the words. This is why the pariyatti understanding has to be the understanding of the realities. Otherwise, if one is just repeating the words, it's not the pariyatti, it's not the chintamaya panya, it's not the understanding about the truth that is there at this very moment, even the ignorance now or the wrong understanding now.
That is a subtle point, because we can be inclined to remember, oh, there is no one there, and how do we know it's wrong? It's subtle, a subtle point.
And that's why Panya has to understand just what appears right now at this moment. So it's not a matter of the definition or the words, but just understanding what appears. That is the truthfulness, being truthful to what is here right now. As soon as it
depends on Panya,
depends on Panya, not I trying to have Panya or I remembering certain words, but just understanding, seeing now, pleasant feeling now, wrong understanding or wrong path now, just understanding here and now. Otherwise, we can repeat the words, but it can be a practice again.
So it's very easy to get that wrong, that point. Yeah.
Yes. That's why, like when we talk about the asavas, that's why the ignorance and wrong view come in so very quickly. even
Okay.
when we say no one is there.
When
What about the asava clinging at those moments, or wrong understanding, even when saying the right words?
Yes,
Very
yeah.
subtle.
That's very subtle, a very good point to remember. Yes.
And Betty, anything more about the terms you mentioned? Any other comments?
No, I think I've got it now. The difference between the two sets, how they dovetail. And whereas the Sutta Maya Panya, Jinta Maya Panya, and Bhavana Maya Panya are the knowledge, whatever the level of the knowledge or understanding gained at that level. And whereas the pariyatti, etc., are I get the stage of the understanding. And
yes, they're both referring to the development of understanding, just in different ways. Yes.
Yes, exactly. And it really works that.
And like just chatting with Nina, even now there can be understanding of whether the understanding is firm or whether there are moments of doubt in between or moments of wrong consideration. So it has to develop to be firmer and firmer to condition the bhavana maya panya or the patipati. No thought of trying or expecting or thinking one should repeat certain words or do anything at all.
Thank you so much.
Alan, do you have any topics you'd like to bring up today, or Alberto, or anyone else?
Maybe the word reckless, because when we have anger, it's quite dangerous because there's nothing that we won't do really. And I'm reminded of that by Will Smith, who just suddenly, nice bloke, who just suddenly in front of the world hit somebody. He might have been in jail now, so there's obviously recklessness there, but also, as I understand it, there's recklessness whenever there is attachment. So maybe it would be useful to hear a bit about recklessness accompanying all unwholesome cheetahs.
Perhaps Sujan would like to add some comments first.
Again, please, can we tell just a little more of just one characteristic at the time?
Yes, that one characteristic, reckless. What's it? What does it do? What's its function? How dangerous is it?
And what is more dangerous?
I would think wrong view, wrong understanding, because even we have recklessness anyway, but with right understanding, it can be seen as it is. But with wrong understanding, even recklessness cannot be seen as it is.
Yes, and there has to be wrong understanding as long as there is ignorance, see? So
Yes.
the only way to understand the truth of what is there is understanding what is there as it is. Just consider it, because we know that anger is so dangerous, attachment is so dangerous, and ignorance is so dangerous, but it's still there. No matter how much we learn about its danger. But when there is the understanding of the truth that actually it is just the unwholesome reality conditioned by no understanding of the truth of what is there. And this is the cause of everything, the core of life, to be kusala or akusala when there's no understanding. See, that's why have confidence of the truth that the most precious reality among those which arises and falls away is only understanding the truth as it is, to be true to the truth. For example, even if we say no one, yes, no one, understanding that they are all Dhammas, but without understanding one Dhamma at a time, can there be firm confidence of, oh, no one is a Dhamma? That's why it's not just the word, but the understanding of the truth, no one, develops from moment to moment when there is a little more understanding of the truth of what is there, little by little. For example, there must be the reality which arises and experiences an object. No thought about it when it's there, but it's there from birth. Each moment arising and falling away, the object of the moment of experiencing that object appear, but that which experiences is no thought about it at all. That's why learn to understand what is there, to condition the idea of the world and everything, anchor and the danger of it, must be the reality which experiences an object. And it cannot arise without conditions. That's why we learn to understand the truth, that no matter any time, anywhere, there must be a reality which experiences what is there appearing all the time. Learning to get closer to understand the truth of each moment without the reality which experiences the object. How can there be any thought, danger, dosa, and so on? So learning to understand the reality of no one and no self, not just by word or not just by repeating it, but at moment of understanding that which experiences an object, can condition the understanding of the truth, more confidence that actually no one at all, if there is no reality which experiences an object. So if there is no understanding of that particular moment of experiencing whatever, it has to be I, and no one can stop the conditions for anger or any reality to arise at all. Just learn to understand. And the understanding works its way, patiently, truthfully, and so on. No one there at all. Just understand the truth of what are there, even not in word. For example, anger cannot be other thing. But what is the truth of it? It's not that which experiences the object clear, but it's there. With that which experiences the object so clear, to like it or dislike it, or have whatever is there towards it, all depends on the reality which is the chief of experiencing an object. Learn to understand just one characteristic of a reality, a little more, clearer and clearer, to begin to understand the truth of what is there, which is not known at all if there's no hearing, considering about the truth that it's there all the time. That's why we just think about anger. But what about that which experiences the object of anger? So understanding of the truth of what is there, not just anger, but whatever is there that can be known little by little. If there's no word about it, can there be conditioned to think about it? Impossible. That's why now, what is there can be known. When anger is not there, anger cannot be known. But that which experiences the object, the chief of experiencing what is there, unknown. So how can there be the understanding of that without hearing, considering that what is that all the time is not known? And there can be the moment of thinking about other reality, which is not always there as that which is the chief of experiencing. That's why in order to let go the idea of self, it has to be understanding the distinction of each reality. So there can be the understanding that it's that, no one at all, little by little. Not just only anger. What about attachment? And what about other the characteristic of other reality? Patience is there. Nothing is known when there's no thought about it, no understanding about the truth. But in truth, what is there in the world, no matter in what world, they are only that which arises and experience the object, and that which arises but cannot experience the object. This is repeated again and again and again, just not to forget about it, that it's there. If it's not known, it's impossible to let go ignorance and all kinds of Dhamma as something or someone. Even right now, I see for sure. And if you don't talk about that which experiences, how can it let go little by little, the cling and ignorance of that which is there from moment to moment, today and every day. So anger is a reality which is not that which is the chief of experiencing, but it experiences that which is the chief of a reality, experiences it clearer than anger, because anger just is conditioned to get angry towards that object and gone. That's why just learn about the truth of what is there, not to be forgotten. So it can be conditioned for thinking about it until it's directly understanding with right awareness instantly by conditions. So now there are moments of developing confidence of the truth to condition moment of directly understand the truth of what is there unexpectedly, whether it is anger or attachment or pleasant feeling or memory or what. Anatta, unexpectedly, little by little. So in life, daily life, there can be moment of understanding what is there happening. It's anatta. No one can control. It's there already, but it's not studied. So how can it be known that it's there so very short and then gone? So true. So have confidence of the truth, and that is pariyatti, understanding what is there firmer and firmer. Seeing now, there must be that which sees, which is not that which is seen, beginning to develop the understanding of the nature of the reality which arises, no shape, no form at all. Just experience that object and then gone. It has to take quite a long, long time to be acquainted to the understanding of that which does not show up. Because what is there is that which is experienced until it appears to right understanding of what degree, stage by stage. And then there can be the understanding of whatever arises and experience, the object, and that which arises and cannot experience anything, understanding the difference between the two to no one. Otherwise, there is conditioned to think about anger or whatever is there by conditions, but not the moment of understanding what is the thinking and what is the anger on what is the attachment, even right now. So learn to understand about this reality until it's firm enough to understand what is there is by conditions, and then gone more daily, more understanding of what is there right now or anytime by conditions, even just very few, but it can be conditioned sometime by conditions. And that is the understanding how come, without hearing again, consider again, in order not to forget it. It can condition moment of directly understanding, even if it's short, so very short, but it's different from intellectual understanding. And right understanding can understand the truth of what is there as it is, what level of understanding, and what object is there, which is not object of direct understanding yet, right now. So understanding from hearing, considering, is building up a little more confidence of the truth. And right understanding works its way on and on and on and on, no one there at all. So we can talk about whatever is there to understand the difference between that which arises to experience and that which cannot experience anything. And we can think about it, but it's not the moment when it's there to be known. That's why there are different degrees of understanding, stage by stage, by conditions. If we don't talk about the truth of it, how can there be moment of understanding it, even it's there all day?
And just one more comment from me, Alan. I think recklessness refers to being heedless of the danger, not seeing the danger. So, of course, when it's strong anger, like in the example you gave, or strong attachment that conditions deeds and speech, then it's very reckless, no understanding of the harm, the danger, or the consequences. But as Ajahn said, what about the ordinary attachment now, the ordinary aversion and ignorance? This is actually also heedless and reckless in that sense, heedless of the danger of accumulating more attachment, more aversion, more ignorance. And then, like I was discussing with Nina, it can be very subtle, so subtle it's not known. The ignorance, the wrong understanding, the clinging, the asavas, so subtle it's not appreciated. And then in the deepest sense, we know that actually whatever is conditioned is dangerous. So for the very wise, they appreciate the recklessness or the danger in whatever is conditioned. And it is the understanding that turns away from the conditioned realities when it's bhayanyana. It is the understanding of the danger of conditioned realities. So the understanding has to develop on and on and on to see more and more the danger, the harm of all kinds of akusala, and actually the arising of all conditioned dharmas.
So could you explain a little bit more about the fact that any conditioned reality is dangerous? What's the understanding behind that? Because if a reality arises and falls away, whether it's wholesome or unwholesome, how is that considered as dangerous?
Because what is conditioned to arise and falls away is dukkha, is unsatisfactory. It's not in anyone's control. And it's the object of clinging again and again. So even the conditioned realities that we refer to as the Buddha are actually dukkha. They're unsatisfactory and they're objects of clinging for others. So there's no haven, no refuge in what is conditioned at all. Even panya, the most precious of all dharmas to be developed, but in the deepest sense, it too is dukkha. It arises and falls away. So the clinging to panya has to be eradicated. The ignorance has to be eradicated. So whatever is conditioned is seen as a danger, a thorn, all those other words that are used. So the highly developed understanding turns away from what is conditioned towards what is unconditioned. So anyway, different layers, different degrees of understanding the recklessness or the danger of not just the strong akusala that leads to results, but even the ordinary akusala in a day, or even the very subtle unknown akusala, and actually the arising of all conditioned dharmas.
Thank you. So can we say then that wholesome moments such as kindness and compassion cannot be developed unless there is the understanding of reality as it is? So it's the understanding which conditions more wholesomeness, and without that understanding, nobody can develop wholesomeness, or wholesomeness cannot develop. So it's wishful thinking that a person may want to be better and kinder, because without understanding the nature of reality, that can never be developed. Would that be correct to say that?
Well, there are two kinds of understanding. There is the understanding of kusala that was developed even before the Buddha's time, the development of samatha bhavana. So metta could be developed to a very high degree because of the understanding of the danger of akusala and the danger of clinging to sense objects, and the understanding of the quality of metta. But the right path is only the development of understanding of any realities as they are, as dhammas, as not self, no matter metta or anger, without any selection or wishing to develop any object, because that is just more clinging.
So even in samatha, so samatha develops kusala, but even there must be the understanding of the disadvantage of seeing and hearing, in that they are followed by attachment. Is that correct? So samatha must be conditioned by the understanding of the danger of seeing and hearing and thinking, and because
clinging to sense objects.
Clinging to sense
all
objects.
kinds of akusala. So right from the beginning, for any kind of development, there has to be understanding. But what you're referring to is not the understanding of realities as anatta. And that's
Right,
why,
yeah.
however great the calmness, however great the samatha bhavana that's developed, it cannot of itself be the right path. Only the calmness, the samatha that is developed with the understanding of realities.
So
can
that's
be
why
the right
you've called samatha, even samatha, the development of wholesomeness, the wrong path, in the sense that it does not lead to the destruction of unwholesomeness. It
Right.
doesn't lead to the understanding of reality.
We have to be clear that samatha, the word samatha, refers to calmness, passaddhi, cetasika. So in the development of understanding of realities, calmness develops with that understanding of realities. But if we're referring to samatha bhavana, that leads to the mundane jhanas, if developed on and on, then this of itself is not the right path. But the calmness, the samatha that is developed with vipassana bhavana, this is higher calm developed with the path. So they are developed together.
Right.
Alan. Sorry, Alan, I think in the development of samatha, the panya that is necessary for that development sees the association between the experiencing of sense door objects and the accumulation of attachment to those objects. But what it doesn't see is other kinds of clinging. For example, clinging to becoming. And obviously it doesn't see attachment to wrong view. So the panya, although it does see the attachment to sense objects and makes the connection between experiencing through the sense door and those objects, it doesn't see more deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
So, Alan, I think what John is saying is that although there's the understanding of the danger of sense attachment to sense objects, and hence by inference that knowing that after seeing this attachment, and so it's better not to see, it's still taken for self. This seeing is my seeing, and that moment is not the path here.
Yes, it's it's not the same. And anyway, with the development of panya, samatha develops anyway, because it's a condition for calm, isn't it? So there's no need for extra samatha because it accompanies all wholesome citta, including the thinking and reflection on Dhamma.
And not only the moments of wrong understanding, taking it for self or the wrong path, but even the moments of, for example, developing great metta, even up to the highest level. It's not the right path because it's not the understanding of the reality. That's not self. So even though there's no wrong view at those moments of great kusala, very great kusala, still it's not the understanding of dhammas as dhammas. So in this sense, it's said to be the wrong path.
Mm. So the word anatta, another word for anatta is only, in the sense that what is now is a reality, and only a reality which is just a reality. So if we're looking at describing anatta, only and just are kind of aspects of reality, because it's just a reality. Thinking is real, but it doesn't have arms and legs.
The understanding of the reality Dhamma as Dhamma, that is the understanding of anatta. The understanding
yes. So
understanding of anatta. Yeah.
So Dharma as Dharma. That's why I think you gave the Bahia Sutta, was it, which kind of contained that in the seen there is the seen, in the touch there is the touched, in the sound just sound. That's kind of saying the same thing, isn't it?
Only sound, it's only the seen.
Only,
Metta is only metta. Jnana Citta
yes,
is
yeah.
only Jnana Citta. They are only dharmas, no matter how great
Yeah.
or wonderful. Even Panya is only a dharma.
A
It's
Dharma,
not self.
yes.
It's just a reality. Yes, whatever. So this is why the right path is the understanding of whatever appears as a dharma, as a reality.
Oh, I
And that's
appreciated your
why and the point, so that's why when it's the right path, there's no wishing or attempt to develop samatha bhavana to experience jhana, because there is the firmer and firmer understanding that any reality can be the object of understanding. So there is detachment from whatever is conditioned at this moment.
So I think you're making a good point there, though, Haji, when you relate anatta to Dhamma, or an understanding of Dhamma to anatta, excuse me. Yeah, that was a useful connection to make.
Because if it's not the understanding Dhamma as Dhamma, Samatha Bhavana is not an understanding of anatta. It's not if understanding of Dhamma, truth, what is Dhamma, that's the meaning of understanding anatta.
Yeah, no, that's good. Good point. Good point. Perhaps just where am I? Is that still? I'm not sure. Yeah, that's right. Alan, I know it's conscious of time here, but I was thinking of your original comment there about Will Smith. Obviously generated by a lot of attachment. And I suppose when I think of the word reckless, I think of pamada, as opposed to apamada. There's a root of that word is mud, or M-A-D, and that's where we get the English word mad from. There's a kind of madness at that moment when not only are they seduced, because there's little or no understanding, or there being no understanding, I imagine, in the case of that particular person, but just so much attachment, and I think that was being alluded to by Tanajana and Sarah, that it's attachment that's the bugbear here, really, that causes all the problems. And if there wasn't the attachment, of course, there wouldn't be any aversion. So and the more we understand, of course, in the nature of conditioned dhammas, the reality that appears at this particular point in time, whatever that may be for any particular person, the more conditions for appamada, non-recklessness or non-heedfulness, however you like to translate it, or non-madness or non-infatuation, which we're often very infatuated with the world and what it seems to offer, but that's just a dream. And listening and considering the Dhamma continually or often enables us to break through that sort of eventually, or enables the understanding to break through to a level of greater sanity, because we could say most of the time there's just kind of an insanity in the world. We can see that are all about us in today's world, kind of craziness. We wonder, it's sort of like a ship without a rudder now. It's gone. Anyway, that's just the nature of things at this particular point in time. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I think that, what occurs to me is that that's what happened to Will Smith is we're all capable of that. It's so dangerous in a few split seconds we can go wrong, and there are so many examples of that happening to others. But actually, of course, it can happen to us as well, and that's what it was a reminder for me of the real danger of not understanding anything at all. It's very dangerous because we will go wrong sooner or later unless there is that development of understanding reality.
Oh, you know, I
There was
think that's
another,
sorry.
yeah, there was another example I saw. I think I might have mentioned it before. This is in the newspaper. It was a young kid, 22. He had a very expensive car, Ford Mustang, and he got into an argument with a scooter driver, and the scooter driver smashed a bottle over his car, and he drove over the scooter driver, killing him, and he was sentenced to 23 years in jail. So you can see how a few moments of recklessness, of aversion, conditioned by that attachment to the car, have just wrecked his life. And you think, crikey, how dangerous that attachment is.
Oh, totally. And I think you've made that point well, that, you know, it's not beyond anybody. If you're not Sotapanna, then, you know, there are conditions still for us to act very, very foolishly. So it's not, we can, I think, easily have mana and think you'll never do that, and perhaps you're relatively safe in this life. But because those anusias are still there lurking, asavas are still there lurking, there will be conditions for them, you know, to rise. Karmasava, especially, as you've just alluded to, by way of lopa, you know, that tendency towards, or the asava of sensuality, you know, liking things to many different degrees, which, you know, will be a precipitating factor for us to act in a very crazy or mad way to bring about those kind of results that you'll just allude to. Most unfortunate and, you know, tragic, you know, especially I think sometimes for the family or, you know, parents of that particular person. Yeah, but anyway, it's just the way it is. Tamada, as Tajan would say, Tamada, according to Dhamma.
Actually, in Thai, Thamada mean normal. And actually, it's come from Dhamma. Dhammata means all Dhamma are normal the way it is.
Well, that's true, Haji, perhaps, but I know that word Thamada means according to Dhamma. That's just the way it is. Was actually in Pali, it's Dhammata. So it's according to, that's the way it is, according to Dhamma. But anyway, I'll take your point.
Yeah, all Dhamma are normal the way it is, nothing strange.
That's true.
And I think, Sundara, what you mean is that all dhammas are normal, is that because they arise by conditions. When the conditions are there, they have to arise. It has to be like that.
Yeah, that's right. So you can see literally, according to Dhamma, you know, whatever arising at that particular moment, there are conditions for it. And we know if there are not the conditions, if there is still wrong view, if there had not been attainment of Sotapattimagga, then we can all do some pretty crazy things, and that will be, you know, Dhammata, according to Dhamma, at that particular moment. So most unfortunate. I think there was something that the case that's just been alluded to also happened in Thailand. I remember reading about it. But anyway, they were just not so important, and we're all capable of pretty crazy things. I was looking at a Jataka story about the same thing, and similar things when this boy struck his mother, and he was born in a place called a particular hell called Ussada hell, and you know, it's called that because it's full, literally means it's chock full of people who do crazy things, and there's a particular thing that's called a kula chakra, which is a kind of a blade that gets embedded in the heads of these people, and it's pretty horrible, as you can imagine. And of course, these people don't die, but you know, the consequences of foolish behavior pretty horrendous, and especially when it comes to when it comes to parents, but doing other things when people who have power do really horrible things to other people, and then conditions for some pretty unpleasant results in these particular different types of hells that most people are mostly unaware of and don't even sometimes believe in, sadly.
Yeah, so what I was saying, that all Dhamma and Dhammata are so normal. So we may say that, oh, it seems abnormal and everything, but there's no such thing as abnormal. How can a Dhamma be abnormal? All Dhamma are Dhammata, normal as it is.
True, Haji. Yeah, absolutely right. That's when there are other conditions that Dhamma will arise, that particular Dhamma. So yeah, it's non-self.
Yes, I have a good example.
Keep going, Sarah.
Yes, I have a good example from the text, Hajit, here, which, as you say, it just says, but rather it's the rule, Tamada, that I consciousness and so on come into being because of the concurrence of I base, visible object, and so on. So it's just the way it is, just the rule it is that by these particular conditions, I consciousness has to arise because of the accumulations. Dosa has to rise at those moments. It can't be any other way by conditions.
Yes.
So, please excuse me. So, Tanajan, then, it is listening and reading the Dhamma and associating with the wise and wise reflection that perhaps can condition letting go at the intellectual level and applying in daily life. For example, I transfer, I see the train, I go toward the train, at the last minute the doors close and the train leaves, and there is the anger, the dosa, the annoyance there. And also, of course, back of that, very powerful, the clinging, the train, I needed to be on that train and now I must wait, and so forth. And then at the intellectual understanding, see, back of story is reality, but at the intellectual level, in the moment, this is doing me no good. I'll just drop it. And the most prominent Dhamma there is suffering. And prior to Dhamma, I didn't want this. I didn't want to understand this unpleasant, distasteful, cannot get away from it. But perhaps in dropping the, in a manner of speaking, dropping the anger and giving away to these are the conditions, I must wait for the next train, then development of Kanti or some, understanding suffering, then this little bit by little bit of letting go can open the way for more understanding. Would that be correct to say this, Tanajan?
To understand the truth of no one and no I. See? So what is the ultimate danger? What we are talking about is the danger of not understanding the way it is and why is that I have to wait and so on. Is it dangerous having such moment? So what is the ultimate danger? Otherwise, no one sees the danger, so one still have danger. Continue on. If one doesn't understand what is the ultimate, the absolute danger, how can one is away from it? Is it now dangerous? Why do we talk about the truth? To let go. danger or what? Just the I all the time, no matter missing the train or whatever is there. I and I and I and I, and it's not there because just a moment gone and gone and gone and gone. But there is still I and I and I and I all the time. Is it dangerous? Or what is the absolute or the ultimate danger? If one doesn't know, there must be danger in life. Very subtle or very coarse, gross can be known. But what about the danger which is not known? It's there. Without understanding the danger of what? We don't know yet. How can there be no danger anymore? So why do we study the truth of what is there? To understand the truth of it. What for? To understand the danger of no matter what as it is. Otherwise, there must be moments of being in danger today or other day, see, this time or the other time. And that is the more developed understanding of the truth of Dhamma. So, is it dangerous now?
No,
Jhana,
not now at this moment.
really?
Not now at this moment.
What about Vipassana Jhana at the level of Vajrayana? Seeing the danger of, see, that we should not know now, that it's so dangerous. That's why just learn to understand the truth of what is there on and on and on, all aspects, in order to really getting closer to the truth of it. Because they're seeing, hearing, thinking, we talk about it on and on and on, but not enough yet. It has to develop until it shows up as it is, as no one and no thing at all, according to the truth that we have learned. No one and no thing, but what appears is something and someone and situation, full of people, things around.
And that's why I said earlier, Eve, that in the deepest sense, whatever is conditioned now is dangerous. Seeing is dangerous, hearing is dangerous, kindness, thinking, any conditioned reality is dangerous because it falls away instantly. But it's the object of clinging and ignorance again and again. And we think of the problems as being in the crazy world out there, or else at least in the anger or the strong defilements. But actually, whatever arises now is dangerous, and the world is the arising and falling away of any reality at this very moment. So the danger, the fire on one's head is right now.
Yes, at the moment when I answered Tanajan's question, if there's danger now, listening, partaking the nutriment of the Dhamma, I just said in ignorance, no. But you reminded me just now, Sarah. Yes, there is danger.
There's danger all the time because all arise and fall away, nothing lasts. So all the time are danger.
Yes, yes, true.
But Eve, I'm not sure if I understand Achan correctly. I was trying to figure out what she was referring to. In my mind, I was thinking about either she meant ignorance or attachment or wrong understanding. But at one point, she talked about today you are fearful of the situation, tomorrow another situation. So at that point, I figured that when she asked, which one is the most dangerous? And I thought it was self-view or wrong understanding.
Wrong
Why
view,
we can-
yes.
That's
Or
why we
all
can-
of them. All of them are dangerous, yes. Sarah, please excuse me.
That's why we can talk about different levels, different degrees. As I mentioned before, we can talk about the danger of the strong defilements, the strong anger, the strong ignorance, the strong clinging. And then we can talk about the danger of even the subtle ignorance, subtle clinging now. But in the absolute sense, whatever is conditioned to arise is dangerous. And that's why when the understanding develops stronger and stronger, when it is the vipassana jnana, as we both mentioned before, it is understanding the danger of whatever is conditioned. So that understanding develops, beginning to understand the nature of reality, which conditions more and more dispassion, more and more turning away from the clinging to what is conditioned. Because they're all dhammas, as Hajit said, not in anyone's control, all gone, all unsatisfactory.
And when nothing arises at all, can there be any danger?
No more danger, and nothing arises. But while these realities arise, there is danger.
So even Thanachan would say that even the happiness that arise also are danger. So what best is not to arise. So no danger at all. So that's the ultimate freedom from danger.
And that's why when the wisdom has been developed firm enough, it turns away from what is conditioned because it sees the harm, the danger,
Yes.
the
Yes.
fearfulness of what is conditioned.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we just try to keep away from what we take for danger. But as long as there is anything arises, there must be danger. But when nothing arises, how can there be any danger? Can there be a little more understanding of the danger of life now? Little by little. Getting a little closer to the absolute danger. Otherwise, why do we talk about what is there as it is? Just to understand the danger of whatever arises. What is more fearful?
Not understanding the truth of dhammas as being so dangerous, seeing them as being satisfactory and lasting and within one's control is very fearful. So I think it's actually a great relief to begin to appreciate little by little about how dangerous whatever is conditioned is. As soon as one wakes up, there's seeing, there's hearing, and clinging has to follow instantly. So it's the way, it's tamatha, it's the way it has to be whilst conditioned realities continue to arise again and again. Cannot be any other way.
Yes, all by conditions, no self to control or choose or exert influence on anything.
Being mad when the train doors close, all these dharmas, whatever they are, arising by conditions, tamatha, not belonging to anyone at all, just has to be like that. While there are the anusayas, the latent tendencies, there has to be the sudden arising of anger, like Alan mentioned, and all the other examples we know, or the sudden strong clinging. So it's just the way that has to be.
Yeah.
And that's why the seeing now, the hearing, whatever arises is dangerous. Better to know, very, the ignorance not to know is fearful.
I mean, if there's no understanding, hearing Dhamma, there's no seeing the actual fearful of ignorance. But once understanding, then the ignorance of reality is the most fearful of all, because they're starting understanding. But if there's no understanding, no seeing the fearful of ignorance.
Cannot be the beginning of seeing the danger of what is conditioned if understanding never develops.
Yeah, when it's not known, it's dangerous. It's when it's known, it's we are on the path which leads to the end of danger.
Mm-hmm.
So the only path that can take us away from danger is understanding understanding the truth. With ignorance of the truth, must be
Yes,
danger.
but it's known as dangerous. So when you say if it's not known, it's dangerous. If it is known, it's also dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's dangerous, but there's a beginning to understand it as it is. That's the point. Beginning to see the truth that whatever arises is dangerous. Even the path, moments, even the understanding, whatever is conditioned.
And that's why the Dhamma is considered a refuge.
Yes.
It's a refuge from danger.
Yes. Yes. Starting understanding from dangerous to the end of dangerous. No dangerous, no arising of anything, no dangerous, end of dangerous.
So I think what Alberto was pointing out is the difference between not knowing and hence being in a dangerous situation, and understanding, having a beginning of understanding and having Dhamma as refuge. So I think that's what Alberto was pointing to.
Yes, but the point is that the seeing now, for example, whether there's any understanding or no understanding, the nature of the seeing is it is dangerous. So whether there's ignorance of it or understanding of it, the nature of what is conditioned is dangerous. So the only true refuge or escape from danger is no more arising of any reality.
Panya is actually a dangerous Dhamma as a refuge to lead to end of defilement and end of all the dangers, end of arising of everything. So Panya is the dangerous Dhamma, but it's a refuge Dhamma.
Yeah,
It's
but
the path,
nobody would
it's the
say
right
that.
path out.
But Haji, nobody would say that, right? If you're talking about Dhamma leading to the seeing of danger and the end of danger, at that moment, Panya is not dangerous.
No.
It is the refuge. It is the way
No.
leading to the
The-
end of the curve.
Yes, that's the another meaning, but all arising Dhamma are dangerous. So what I mean to say is that whether Panya is the Dhamma that lead to end of danger.
I understand Hajit's point. I mean, when it is via jnana, it is the direct understanding of the danger of whatever is conditioned, and that includes panya or
Panya
any
itself,
other
yes.
conditioned reality.
Yes.
So in that sense, all conditioned realities are dangerous. But when we're talking about the path, we're talking about the way out through the understanding of those dhammas, including the danger, the fearfulness of them. It's panya that can understand the danger.
Yes.
The moment of Lokuttara, the moment of Magga is not danger in the sense that it experiences Nibbana, so it cannot be dangerous.
No,
Yeah, I think
but the Lokuttara Chitta also arise and fall. So even Makha Chitta and Phala Chitta also are dangerous because it arise and fall. But the Nibbana experience Nibbana aren't dangerous because Nibbana are unconditional, not arising and falling away. But the Makha Chitta itself is dangerous because it's arise also and fall instantly.
yeah, different degrees of danger as well. From Lokiya, from Satipatthana to Sotapatti Marga.
Excuse me, Haji.
From
The path be dangerous? In other words, how can a Lokuttara Citta or the arising of understanding be dangerous?
No.
Akacitta is not dangerous.
Because no. Dangerous in the sense all conditioned Dhamma are dangerous because they all arise and fall away and nothing.
Yeah, they fall away.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, the rising of a path condition is not dangerous.
No. When we mean the path to lead to end of danger, that is the different meaning. But when we
Right, that's the effect.
we include all Dhamma that are all arise, all condition arise and fall, all are dangerous because they doesn't last. They arise by condition and they fall away. So even
Yes, but that's it's a lack of understanding that of the nature of the dhammas as impermanent that's dangerous, not the fact that they the fact that they fall away right away. Because, like, for instance, okay, Makacita will fall away right away, but its effect is far more important than the idea that, well, because it's impermanent, it's dangerous.
No, but they are all impermanent. They are unsatisfactory because they are chitta arise and fall away. So all Dhamma, all chitta.
If they're unsatisfactory, then what's the point?
No, but it's still dangerous because it's fallen away. It's not. It's Dhamma doesn't last.
All right. Okay, it falls away.
Betty, may I say something?
But the
when
fact
you talk about
the fact that it leads to a greater understanding, even the moment of, let's say, the parinibbana of a person who's of some kind of Buddha, is then dangerous.
Because it have to be that chuti chitta of arahata also is dangerous because arise and fall. But after that, no more chitta arise, so no more dangers after that.
Why? All right, Rahaji. Why is rising and falling? Okay, rising and falling away is in itself.
Yes.
might not be a danger unless it's understood. If it's understood, then it's not, it becomes less and less dangerous.
Oh, no,
But you can't say that rising and falling away is in itself a danger.
all Dhamma that arise and fall are all dangerous because they doesn't last. They arise by a condition. That, in what sense? What you're talking? If you mean the all reality that arise
The
and fall.
problem is, I think, our use of the vocabulary here. I understand what you're trying to say, but I think the problem is the use of the vocabulary. Because certainly if the arising of a Magajita is considered a danger, then we have to consider its effects rather than the fact that it falls away.
Just one small point to consider, Hajit, is that the Lokuttara Citas, the Maganpala Citas, are the citas that cannot be the object of clinging.
Yes,
So
yes.
that is may make a difference. Anyway, I think we need to continue next week. I think our time is up.
Yes. Thank you everyone. Thank you, Tanajan.
Thank you, everyone.